My name is Tracy Corwin. I'm 53 years old, married 4 years to my wonderful husband, David. Our kids are grown, but we have a dog that we love. His name is Sherman. I've always been a healthy eater. I was in really good shape. I felt great. I was experiencing a lot of stress in my life. I was in a very stressful job. I was traveling a lot. I had just gotten home from a business trip that was very stressful, and I was not feeling the greatest that week. Thought it was anxiety, maybe some little chest pains here and there, some discomfort in my upper chest. The day of my episode, I just wanted to get some stuff done around the house, and I wanted to rip up the carpet in our office upstairs. And as I was ripping the carpet out, I just felt my chest felt uncomfortable. It felt like pressure, and I thought, this is weird, what's going on? So I proceeded to finish ripping the carpet up, threw it over my shoulder, and brought it downstairs. And as I was coming down the stairs, the pressure got a little stronger in my chest, started moving into my shoulders and my neck. My heart rate felt really fluttery and it felt really high. And then I sat up and I said, I think I need to go to the hospital. There's just something isn't right. We got into the hospital, and by that time, the pain was, I would say, probably about an 8. They looked at me and they're like, well, you're not overweight. It's probably anxiety. And I'm like, I don't know if it's anxiety because I've experienced anxiety before and it's different. The pressures and the pain started to go down my left arm, and it was up into my neck and in between my shoulder blades in the back. Doctor comes in. He's like, how you feeling? I'm like, I'm all right. They hook you up to the IVs and everything. And I'm sitting in the room. My son shows up, and David stepped out to make a phone call. And I'm just sitting there, and I was talking to my son. And then I just felt this weird, flip-flop kind of sensation in my chest. The monitors started going off. The next thing I know, the doctor's running in the room, and he's calling for the crash cart. And I looked at him and I said, am I having a heart attack? And he goes, yes, I believe you are. And I looked at my son and I said, please go get David. And he left the room. And I thought, I do not want my son to see me die.
I went out to make the call, and I don't think I was on the phone for maybe a couple of minutes, and Eli came running out and saying, come in or whatever. And I had asked the doctor, what is happening? And I remember him for the first time saying that she's having a heart attack. And excuse me, she's the love of my life. And I want only the best things for her.
I had experienced a SCAD, which is a spontaneous coronary artery dissection. The coronary artery had torn on the inside, and that flap of the artery, the inside of the artery, was causing a blockage. My blood pressure at the time of going into the hospital was 217/94, and that's really high. They didn't have to do any repairs on it. It would repair itself over time, and then I would have to do cardiac rehab, and then I would be on blood pressure meds for the rest of my life.
Every human being handles stress differently. One thing that I've learned about my wife is that she didn't handle stress appropriately. She puts a lot on herself and tries to handle a lot of things, and I think that's been what she's been through most of her life, is she tries to handle everything. And since then, the change I've noticed in Tracy is that she's relying on others to help.
The heart attack made me realize that I needed to do something different in my life. I needed to make changes. Before the heart attack, I was eating right, exercising, but I wasn't managing the stress correctly. I decided, I'm just gonna do what I love to do, and I'm just gonna start my own business. That can't be stressful. I started my business of Restore Beauty Wig Studio. It's what I've done for the last 24 years is work with women with hair loss, and it's what I love, it's what I'm good at, and it fulfills my desire to help women. I've always been artistic, and I thought, I have all this time when I was recovering to do something creative. And so I started painting. I set up a little art studio downstairs in our basement, and I just started cranking out paintings. I was struggling at that time, mentally and emotionally and physically. They say, the best thing to do is just keep your blood pressure as low as possible, and, there's not much we can do. And it's scary. It's still in the back of your mind, that stress of it happened once, it can happen again. I think it's really important for women to band together and support each other and educate each other. And so this is my part of that, is to let women know that you're not alone if you're going through this. There are support groups out there. There's, the American Heart Association. I think it's really important for young women. A SCAD can happen at any age. It's really important to understand it and to get the help that you need.